What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge and we are back today with a legendary review update video. Haven't made this in quite a few months. It's great to get a recap in terms of, who are the most powerful legendaries in the game right now. And at the time of recording, we do have Omega Red, the Red Death event as well. So he's definitely a character I'm going to be discussing as well. But, who are the top meta legendary characters right now? If you're a newer player and transitioning to the mid game, which legendary characters should you be aware of and working towards? As well, which are the ones that have kind of fallen off now that aren't really worth paying attention to and investing in? That's what we'll also discuss today. So first and foremost, guys, I have my roster already filtered here for the legendary characters. As you can see in this game right now, there are a total of 15 legendaries outside of the the 2 legendary horsemen that are going to get added, right? Being Red Hulk, as well as right now rumors has it that it's Archangel, but within due time we're going to see how that shakes out. And obviously Apocalypse will also be interesting to see if he's going to be that classification of a legendary as well. That said, guys, do not let this ranking of all my characters here, guide you in terms of who's the most important, because it could be misleading in that sense. So we're going to go through and talk about some of the more powerful or most powerful legendaries right now and why they're, the way they are, as well as the characters that have fallen off and that you shouldn't be looking into investing, at least for the the medium to short term right now, just because we need more time to assess whether or not these characters or teams will still have staying power in the short to medium term. That said, guys, hands down, I think you'll hear from myself, a lot of content creators, that indisputably the most powerful legendary right now in the game is Morgan Le Fay. Without a doubt, she's part of a top 5 team in the game. Her arena team is the only team that pretty much exists right now in the arena meta. The first legendary horseman that came about, and her 3rd Pestilence Scourge event just wrapped up too. So hopefully you guys, even if you were able to participate in the last 3 Scourges, even just participating would have granted you a minimum of 40 shards, which means likely the conclusion of this 3rd one hopefully gave you guys the unlock here at even 3 stars or higher. But just given her abilities, how powerful she is, used in every game mode right now, and a lot of key reasons, right? She just adds a lot of value to any team. She can be a slotting character. More importantly, she actually does shut down a lot of characters with her ultimate here being the Reality Break. You can see just applying trauma and ability block to all controller enemies. That's really where the value comes from her. And it targets these controllers regardless of where they are on the field, and that's why it's so powerful. Even her special ability, Time Warp, reducing all the speed bar, it's a different type of mechanic that we haven't seen before, with reducing it as well as healing herself. On top of that, every one of her attacks scales with HP, so having her as a skirmisher is really competitive in arena meta, but as well having her with Striker allows her to get duplicate attacks, and it's just absolutely potent and powerful. So without a doubt, she's number 1. If you guys can get her and build towards her, she's going to be lasting for quite a while, in my honest opinion, just given all the formidable abilities that she has. Another key character that's been recently released as a legendary is Rogue, and she's also catapulted to the top of this list, right? Her given abilities, the fact that she has high speed in the game and she can just kick off her special, applying trauma, slow defense down, all these conditions right from the very get-go can shut down an enemy opponent right away, and as well she becomes the main kind of character to soak in that damage and become that main tank. She's definitely made my Astonishing X-Men a better team, and that's just a demonstration of how powerful she is, but as well that she can also be a slotting character. Unfortunately, guys, we did get information and word that she's going to be coming back pretty soon here in the next patch, with Famine being rerun again. Whether or not that's going to be before Red Hulk's War Scourge or after remains to be the question, but without a doubt right now, these legendary horsemen are a great sign that likely for the next 2, they're also going to have staying power. Now that we kind of knocked those 2 out of the way, every other legendary has been released the OG way, which is going through and actually getting the 5 yellow stars unlocked needed, and then going through. So who are those characters right now that still add value to the game? First and foremost, Shuri's got some much needed love now, thanks to the Wakandan's game rework. They are formidable in Cosmic Crucible, they're formidable in War, and as well just having their entire squad now reworked really allows them to be able to thrive once again. Also, not many legendaries here that you'll see having defense up and healing, so that's where she adds value. On top of that as well, she has a nice passive that she can actually apply, the deflex to characters when they do drop below that threshold, and it does apply outside of raids originally was intended just for raids, and because of that rework, it's allowed her to actually be able to resurface here and gain value. Furthermore, she's actually one of the earliest legendaries you can unlock in the game, so as long as you have some of the beginner characters that are part of that Spider-Verse, right? So that's absolutely huge just to have that inclusion to unlock her. Easy to access as well from the early game to mid, as well as used in the end game stages. I actually used her in my Dark Dimension 5 walkthroughs and guides, and she was absolutely crucial just to apply defense up, energy, and just be able to bolster the team as a slot in supportive character. Without a doubt, highly recommend, and her value has gotten better, which is absolutely amazing to see. And the other two worth noting, in asterisks here, definitely Omega Red still remains to be one of the best legendaries. However, he is actually also one of the hardest ones to unlock, because there are a few legendaries that requires other legendaries to unlock, and unfortunately for Omega Red, he does need Nick Fury as part of the unlock, and with Nick Fury, he needs 5 tree characters that are minions, and you just have to farm them to 5 stars as well. So essentially, to unlock Omega Red, you basically need 10 characters, and it goes without saying, he's one of the best ones here in terms of crowd controlling, being able to utilize his abilities, apply trauma. Both his special and his ultimate consists of ability block, and as well, similar to Morgan Le Fay, the majority of his abilities actually does scale with HP as well, and redistributes, and as well bypassing the heal block, which is huge. So really, all in all, he's part of a really meta war team right now. As part of that Weapon X meta, and he gets a lot of value from them as well. But he can be a slotting character, definitely worth building. But again, the key setback is needing a character like Nick Fury, who unfortunately doesn't have much value right now in the game outside of the unlock needed for Omega Red. And then last but not least, guys, I think the fifth one that I would like to talk about here is going to be a toss-up in the air between Jubilee and Adam Warlock. Jubilee used to actually be the top of my list here because of the fact that she really does bolster her astonishing X-Men team. They are part of the only mutant team right now that we're aware of that's in the Doom 2 raids and Doom 3. So pretty much no other team, plus minus obviously substitutions including Omega Red and Rogue, who I've already discussed. But main reason is the value that she can bring, her passive here being able to grant additional turn meter thanks to any enemies falling, but as well as having really good offensive abilities too. She is squishy, but she has Splitting Atoms ultimate that can actually reduce speed meter with a stun, so it really slows them down as well, everybody around them. And if you're able to actually finish off an enemy, she can actually spread all the conditions to all the enemies affected as well. So I mean, for instance, finishing off someone with blind can actually spread to everyone else. This was actually a huge ability for me, and that's particularly the reason I brought her up to Dark Dimension 5. Now, the only reason I'm hesitant to recommend her now, if you're watching this as a mid-game player, is that there are rumors right now and speculation that, as I mentioned earlier, with the Death Scourge likely being Archangel, we're not sure yet, right? But if he does come to fruition, their value as a mutant raid team is going to go down. So all your investment into this raid team may potentially be similar to how when Web Warriors came about, and then symbiotes, nobody uses the symbiotes anymore because of them taking over that meta. So that's why, if you guys are watching this later on this video, make sure you check the timestamp and double check if I've made another video on this, because that's why I'm hesitant to recommend Jubilee, because she has really good staying power right now. But in the short term, that remains to be the question, especially if we're not sure how that team's going to be brought about, and maybe it's a different Death Scourge team, right? This is all speculation, but there's a lot of data mining and updates, and I'll definitely keep you guys up to date with that as it develops. Last but not least, in my opinion, the best legendary outside of that mix now is actually Adam Warlock here. And now, I'm hesitant as well to recommend Adam Warlock because similarly to Omega Red, he also requires a legendary to actually unlock him, and that's actually Jubilee, who I touched on earlier. So that's why these two are linked like that. But the main reason Adam Warlock has so much value is his Infinity Watch team is still a top 5 team in the game. Even after all this time, they are a very potent force, one of my best offensive teams that I utilize in actually Cosmic Crucible and War. And for a lot of reasons, right? They got a lot of staying power in terms of their buffs, the fact that they have Safeguard, and then Adam Warlock specifically, he has 2 crowd controlling abilities very similar to Omega Red, applying ability block, and he has one of the few double stuns in the game. And because of that value right there, that's exactly why I would have strongly considered bringing him to Dark Dimension 5. Unfortunately, he's also a cosmic mystic character that requires a lot of gear. So that's why, I'm not even investing him in him anymore, just because of that team falling out of the meta. But they still remain to be a very, very powerful team in the game. And I'm hesitant just because of that requirement now needing Jubilee. And Jubilee, her days may be numbered depending on what we see in the updates here to come. But for sure, Morgan Le Fay, Omega Red, Shuri, Rogue, these four are definitely still going to have a lot of value in the short to medium term, in my honest opinion. And what that means is, I would say 6 months to a year, they're still going to be kicking for quite a while in terms of what they can bring. So that said, guys, this leaves us a very, very big list here of, Ebony Maw, Phoenix, Dr. Octopus, Black Bolt. We got Iron Man being reworked as Bionic Avengers, Nick Fury, Invisible Woman, Star-Lord, and Magneto. And out of the remainder here, the only one I would actually recommend is because of the reworks done to Bionic Avengers. Unfortunately, Iron Man does require a lot of gear, hence why my slow building him up. But he's potentially going to be required for the Death Scourge, so his ranking is definitely going to go up, in my honest opinion, depending on what we see on those nodes. But for sure, right now, this recent rework has definitely added a lot of value for the reasonings of why we need to bring him up now. But otherwise, everybody else on this on the board here remains to be seen. What their future is going to be, because they don't really have any other value outside of being a blitz team, or outside of them just being part of an attack or defensive team that you want to utilize in other game modes. But there you guys have it. Those are, in my honest opinion right now, the best legendaries to keep your eye out, guys. So feel free to invest in them, especially the first four that I discussed. Keep an eye out for Jubilee and Adam Warlock. It's going to be interesting to see how their dynamic changes in these coming months as we inch closer and closer to seeing the full releases of the Legendary Horseman, but as well as the unlock of Apocalypse. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm always interested to hear what you think, whether or not my thoughts on these legendaries right now align with yours as well. Thank you as always. Do appreciate you guys checking my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.